Hamas, the Palestinian Islamist group, declared on Wednesday that it will not attend the new round of Gaza ceasefire discussions scheduled for Thursday in Qatar. This announcement has dampened hopes for a negotiated truce, which Iranian sources suggest could deter an Iranian strike on Israel. The U.S. has indicated that the indirect talks in Qatar's capital Doha are still set to proceed, and a ceasefire agreement remains possible. However, Axios reported that U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has delayed his trip to the Middle East, which was originally planned to begin on Tuesday. According to 3 senior Iranian officials, a ceasefire agreement in Gaza is necessary to prevent Iran from retaliating directly against Israel for the recent assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. While the Israeli government plans to send representatives to the talks, Hamas has called for a practical plan to implement an already accepted proposal, rather than engaging in further discussions. Senior Hamas official Sami Abu Zuhri stated that Hamas is committed to the proposal presented on July 2, based on a UN Security Council resolution and President Biden's speech. He criticized additional negotiations as potentially allowing Israel to impose new conditions and extend the conflict. Fighting in Gaza has continued unabated. Residents of Khan Yunis reported that Israeli forces have demolished homes in the city's eastern sector and increased tank shelling in the eastern city center. Israel claims these actions are in response to Hamas rocket attacks on Tel Aviv and asserts that it has targeted rocket launch sites and militants among 40 military targets in the past 24 hours, including in central Gaza, Khan Yunis, and southern Rafah. Hamas and Islamic Jihad have reported attacks on Israeli forces, while Palestinian health officials say that Israeli strikes have killed at least 14 people on Wednesday, mainly in central and southern Gaza. Additionally, Hamas has reported intense clashes with Israeli forces in the West Bank, where Israel claims to have killed several militants. The proposed ceasefire aims to end the fighting in Gaza and facilitate the release of Israeli hostages held in the enclave in exchange for many Palestinians detained by Israel. However, disagreements over the sequencing of these terms remain. Hamas demands a ceasefire and the withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza as prerequisites for hostage release, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insists that a ceasefire will only be possible after the return of as many hostages as possible and the elimination of Hamas. The conflict escalated on October 7 when Hamas launched attacks on Israeli communities near Gaza, resulting in about 1,200 deaths and over 250 people taken captive, marking one of the most severe blows to Israel in its history. In response, Israeli forces have heavily damaged Gaza, causing significant casualties and displacements, with the Palestinian Health Ministry reporting around 40,000 deaths. Israel has reported more than 300 soldier fatalities, and Hamas continues to launch rocket attacks. To prevent further escalation involving Iran-backed Hezbollah, especially after the killing of a senior Hezbollah commander in Beirut last month, U.S. President Joe Biden's senior advisor Amos Hochstein arrived in Beirut on Wednesday. Hochstein is set to meet with Lebanese caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati and Parliament Speaker Nabi Berri, who leads the Amal movement allied with Hezbollah and has also fired rockets at Israel. Mikati described the current situation as highly uncertain and emphasized the need for intensified diplomatic efforts to avert further conflict and halt Israeli actions. He noted that discussions with Arab and Western leaders have intensified due to the critical nature of the situation in Lebanon and the broader region.